Hi everyone and welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Another tutorial for the TASCAM Model 12. This is the second video on this topic on how to record effects on each of the tracks so that you can utilize multiple effects available on the TASCAM Model 12 into your mixing project. If this kind of videos and tutorials interest you, consider subscribing to my channel. And if you find this video after watching it interesting and informative, give me the thumbs up and share. That really helps my channel. In this example, I've got a song that's been recorded on my SD card that I'm going to be playing it back. So all my mode switches are for the multi-track recorder inside. I've done some EQing, as you can see, and some compression as well, and very basic leveling, so balancing. And let's have a quick listen for the song so we get an idea.
In the orb, a face of light, smiling down, beaming through, clouds of misty memories swirl. It's a line of silver.
Okay, so it's raw track with I've got no effects added to it. Let's say it sounds really nice and we want to add an effect. I'm just going to select the effect, and hold 2 is really nice for this vocal. And let's increase our auxiliary 2 or the effects, and so we can send it to our effects unit. I've got my main out, so the effects will go to the main. We should be able to hear it. So let's play back and let's have a listen. And one annoying thing, TASCAM, again, is that if you are in the any of the settings, like here, the effect settings, I can't press play or do anything, right? I should be able to, so that while I'm playing, I can adjust the effects. So I gotta go out, press play, and then go back in. Serious.
A face of light, smiling down.
So that's the vocal with the whole effect.
Clouds of misty memories swirl.
See, I can't stop.
It's a line.
Right. Okay. So we want to change the effect. Because I want the reverb to be wide and stereo, but in this example, what I'm going to try to do is add a delay effect for the vocal as well as the reverb. Now, delay can be mono and in the center, I guess, but I can play around with that. You're going to see in a minute. And what my aim is to show you is that we're going to use one of the empty tracks, in this case, channel 2, to record our delay. And we're going to use that as our pre-recorded delay effect. And the way I have it routed is that I've got the effects going into the effects channel. Okay. Now, instead of selecting to the main, I'm going to deselect that one and select auxiliary 1. So now the output of the effects module is going to go to the auxiliary 1. And we're going to turn this knob here. It says send to auxiliary 1. This is the amount of auxiliary signal we're going to send to the auxiliary 1 out of the effects module. And then for that, we're going to increase our auxiliary 1 master output as well. So our auxiliary 2, which is tapping into the vocal, it's going to go into the effects, and we're going to select a delay effect. And the output of the delay effect is being sent to the auxiliary 1, just like you tap into the auxiliary 1 of any of the channel, and that's the master output. And the only difference here is from mode 1 is that we can need to use some sort of a patch lead. This is just a short patch TRS lead. That's one end is connected to the auxiliary 1 output, and then the other end is connected, in this case, into my channel 2 line input. And I've got my mode switch as live input. So the output of auxiliary 1, which normally would go into stage monitors and those sort of systems, we're just going to feed it back into the mixer. Now, if you're wondering, why don't we just plug that into the auxiliary 2 output that's at the back of the unit and we can record that? it doesn't work that way, because as soon as you plug in anything to the auxiliary 2 output at the back of the unit, that disables and bypasses the effects unit. So auxiliary 2 will go just straight directly out into the socket. So that's why we need to use auxiliary 1 to feed back into channel 2. So just to quickly recap, signal coming down into auxiliary 2, into the effects module, auxiliary 1 selected, out the level we adjust, master auxiliary 1 output, into the cable and back into channel 2, which we're going to set to record that. Now you might think that that's quite a lot of things to fiddle around with, but this is a little bit more flexible than method 1, because what we're going to be recording on track 2 or on our channel 2 is the wet signal of the effects module. Then we basically have that effects recorded onto our track, and then we can use this fader as our effects send. And then we can be really creative and then select a different effects module to send the vocal, and then we can blend in our original effects 1, which was the delay. So let's see how that works out. So make sure you've got all of those settings correct and you've got the lead, and let's play it and find out how it works. Before we start any recording, probably it's a good idea to practice it and see how it's actually working, whether we got all of our audio routing correct. So let's just play.
Tonight, in the orb, a face of
and adjust the level. I'm just going to go to the meter, and then I can see a level going up, but not enough. So let's bring it up a little bit more. Just going to get it loud enough with the gain just below the line there, so the level. And now let's bring that in. Now I can hear that. Okay, let's go back, and I'm just going to solo 1 and 2 so I can hear them and see how. That's dry. That's with the delay effect. And I can blend it how much I want. Okay, so we are ready now, armed for recording, and let's record that effect into the track. Remember, we still have the raw audio of the vocal here. We're not changing that. We're just adding the delay onto track number 2. Let's go for that.
Tonight, in the orb, a face of light, smiling down, beaming through, clouds of misty memories swirl.
So I'll just let it through. And of course, the advantage is that we can always change the effect amount later on. Not only that, you can see I'm also compressing it and EQing it. So this really helps us to control the delay. And you can see I've got some of the top end down so that sibilance is controlled, so we're not getting a repeat of those sort of delay things, and also taking some of the lower frequencies down and so on. So brighten up a little bit to make sure it's different from the original vocal, so the delay is different. So we can stop that now, and we're good to go. Let's give it a try. Take it off recording, and now we switch that into the multi-track recorder, so everything is now playing from the SD card. Rewind and press play.
Tonight, in the orb,
just solo that channel. What we're hearing is the delay.
Clouds of misty memories swirl.
That's the original dry.
It's a line, a silver thread to the other side. The soul's moon confides in both the worlds.
Okay, so we've got it all recorded. And if you, of course, if you get it wrong, you can try it again. If the amount is wrong or the delay time is wrong, you want to change it, you can go back and re-record it because you still have the original dry vocal available. Okay, let's go on to the next step. I'm just going to remove the effects output from auxiliary 1 back into the main. Now we can switch that off because we don't need it. And let's switch our effects from delay to a big one. Hole 2 is nice and big, and see how we actually go. Let's have a listen.
Tonight, in the orb, a face of light.
That's the reverb.
Down, beaming through clouds of misty memory swirl.
And let's add the delay.
It's a line, a silver thread to the other side. The soul's moon confides in both the worlds.
It's in context.
This all soul's moon abides both the worlds.
Okay, now that sounds much more grand. We have the delay on our vocals and the reverb to widen the vocal as well. But we can't stop there. We can be a little bit more creative. Let's turn off the hole from the main and add that into the delay. Let's see how that will sound. See, we're just going to be a little bit more creative.
Tonight, in the orb, a face of light, smiling down, beaming through.
That's delay with reverb.
It's a line,
It's just delay.
a silver thread to the other side. All souls moon confides in both the.
So adding a reverb to the delay, and because the delay is repeating as well, it makes it more sort of luscious reverb effect. But you need to be controlling that so that you're not adding too much, otherwise it will add muddiness to the vocal. But again, we can still control that with our EQ. So let's go back to the original one and let's have a final listen of how it actually sounds with delay and reverb.
Tonight, in the orb, a face of light.
That's a nice blend. Let's bring everything in.
Clouds of misty memory swirl. It's a line, a silver thread to the other side. The soul's moon confides in both the worlds. This all soul's moon abides both the worlds.
And task complete. So if you found this video informative and helpful and creative for you, make sure you give me the thumbs up, share, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great time making music, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio, guys.